Welcome to the Data Science Avocado Day 4.
Oh, one more time with some feeling, buddy.
Welcome to the Data Science Avocado Day 4.
That's what I'm talking about. What's your name?
Elliot.
What's your last name?
Heisler.
How old are you?
8.
Nuts. Thanks, bud. Welcome to day 4 of the Data Science Avocado. Thanks for sticking with me throughout this. Oh, hi, Emma. I like your new sandals. Is that what you wanted to do? Here, come here. Say hi. Say hey. All right, Daddy's got to talk, okay? All right, so we've hit, the Data Science Avocado, where we talk about how the practice of data science cuts across AI, ML, and deep learning. Let's actually jump into the agenda here. And we've talked about 2 of the 3 main pillars of data science success. So we've talked about who should be doing data science and how to kind of build out a practice from a talent perspective. And we talked about how to go about data science. And the last piece that we want to talk about is the what of data science. So if we jump out here and we look at our vision, again, we've already talked about who, we've talked about how, now we need to talk about what. So what business problems are really well suited for data science? We really think that, actually a lot of back office functionalities. So these are things that are not in the line or the front line of your business. These aren't the products that have, made you a successful organization, that have kind of been a part of the product offering. But really these are kind of things like in the back office, the functionality, the operations of the business. We really think that the beauty of that is we can focus in on things that are really high value and super low risk. So the idea here is kind of, focusing in on the things that if they go wrong, not everyone in your organization is going to be like, oh man, this was this big black swan project. Oh, we thought that we were going to re-engineer everything at our company just with this one algo or something like that. Actually, this is going to be, something that's maybe a little softer, or not softer, but a little smaller, but still is going to add a lot of value. So maybe prioritizing some of your business development tasks. When people call, prioritizing them based on past behavior of their where they're calling from, or the number that's registered in your system. So these have lower value, high value and lower risk if they don't necessarily work. So if we kind of zoom in here, what are the kind of functional areas that we're talking about? We're talking about IT operations, right? So ticketing systems, things like that, ServiceNow, where there's a high volume, and the reward is really big. Being able to focus in on particular requests or prioritizing the tickets that are coming through. We see it as medium reward, right? So it's can bring a decent amount of value, super low risk. The consumer of this these analytics, and that are going to be walking this walk alongside you as you develop this, they're pretty informed consumers. These are going to be folks that have computer science degrees, have sat in IT, kind of quantitative folks. So they're going to be informed consumers of your product. And the solutions are pretty easy, especially that piece getting it to predictive or to the predictive use case, the data integration, a lot of that stuff. These are modern platforms. They're places that you can pull directly from an API. We think those are really, really good for something like this. The next is tax and audit. So medium, high reward, kind of predicting risk, and focusing in on, predicting the likelihood of realized risk or something like that. It's medium and high reward, medium to high reward. The quantitative, or the audience is quite quantitative, right? So these men and women are doing a lot of numbers crunching. They're going to be pretty savvy. They're going to understand what you're doing. In the amount of data, it's really just transactional data, not just transactional data, but a lot of transactional data. So there's a lot of data to kind of build on top of to really get really well-trained models. So the last is sales and marketing, and we think that this is super high reward, right? So it's last, but it's certainly not least. This is something that these are the men and women that are bringing money into your organization. So there couldn't be a higher value group to focus on. We think that they're super underserved, right? They're a really, really hungry audience. The data is abundant, right? So like you've seen CRMs, you've you've integrated with maybe a Dynamics instance or Salesforce instance. That data is really, really big. There's a lot of it. There's lots of individual transactions and all this kind of stuff, interactions, meetings, accounts, but it can be pretty dirty. So the data preparation there can be a little hefty, but the solutions are super easy, right? And we're going to talk a little bit next about kind of the flavors. Oops. Right? So what should you be doing, right? So I just mentioned that business development is actually pretty, those are easier solutions. And that's because actually focusing in on classification or recommendation engines. So those are the things similar to what you see in Netflix when it's like, hey, we think because you did this, you'll also like this. Or, you know, here are the top 5 things that we think that you'll like, or the rankings or the ratings in terms of things on Netflix that they think that you'll like, or the number of stars rather. So a lot of those are very, very similar to the types of things that you can do for your sales and marketing team. So prioritizing and say, hey, focus on these things first. Or we recommend that you do this, like you focus on this customer or this customer. Those things can be really, really helpful. It's low effort. The amount of energy and it's spaghetti night here at the Heisler home, and that's Emma's favorite meal, so she's really excited. So anyway, these are really low effort and high reward. So the again, the amount of effort that it takes to kind of build one of those recommendation engines is relatively low on the effort scale when it's compared to other things. But again, the reward is super high because, again, the end result of a successful deployment here is increased revenue to your company, and you're going to have a lot of people's eyes on something like that. So that's day 4. Stay tuned for tomorrow. We're going to talk about the call to action. Hopefully this is a little creative and you know, really brings a lot of us together at the end. So thanks a lot. See you tomorrow.